Welcome back to the Author's Edge. I am your host, Allison Lane, and I am here for you because I want to make your journey into authorship and as an author easier and more exciting. And I want to make sure that you know that it's supposed to be fun and it can be fun. And that's if we take the pressure off of all the marketing. You don't have to figure all that stuff out yourself. That is too much to take on. We're here to give you shortcuts and to open your eyes to easy ways for you to get ahead. That's why I'm so excited to welcome my next guest on. She's a LinkedIn expert, and LinkedIn is my social of choice. She helps busy business professionals and job seekers grow their presence and really enjoy a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie. And what I mean by that is she makes it so easy and judgment free to help us turn our profiles into powerful marketing tools. And I always say, you have to be your very best marketer. And it really starts with choosing what goes on your social profiles because you get to control those and on your website. So whether you're an entrepreneur or a public speaker or contributing to media or you are leading a medical practice or even looking for your next job, these insights are going to help you stand out on LinkedIn and everywhere. So please help me welcome Brenda Meller. Hooray! And Brenda's here. I'm so glad to get into this today, and let's just jump in. Pop quiz. Brenda, take it. The rap of your choice. Okay, let me just hop in here. Oh, and by the way, I definitely want to focus our talk today about people marketing themselves as thought leaders and
hmm
experts on LinkedIn and getting
Sure.
away from really common mistakes
Mhm.
where that happen when somebody reaches a certain point in time where they're like, maybe I do want to eventually transition out of my leading HR role. And so they've
hmm
created a profile that's essentially reflection of their job at one company where
hmm
we need to elevate them.
Okay.
And because it's not that people are trying to sell books from LinkedIn, it's that they forget that they're have to position themselves.
Yeah.
So
To talk about marketing your book through your LinkedIn profile, though, because I have some tips on that too. Okay.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Now, most people listening to this have an upcoming launch
hmm
or they want to be an author, and I do an audit and I go, I can't believe what a big deal you are. Huge effing deal.
Yeah.
But your LinkedIn profile does not reflect
Yeah.
your amazingness. And
hmm
it's a freaking downer. And I feel in an afternoon, I can change all that. But
hmm
what hurts my heart is that they didn't take action 5 years ago.
Yeah. Well,
Because it's
yeah.
such a simple thing. So let me just jump in with
hmm
what's a mistake people make when it comes to marketing themselves or representing themselves as big effing deals on social, especially LinkedIn, which is my platform of choice.
I think one of the biggest mistakes is that people neglect their own profile. They may have set up an account on LinkedIn years ago when LinkedIn first came on the scene, or maybe it was when they were doing a job change and they were using LinkedIn for their job search or other things, but they've kind of neglected it entirely. And where they are now in their career and their business isn't being reflected on their profile because LinkedIn doesn't automatically pull that information in. You got to go manually in and add to it and also keep it fresh. So what you might see on your LinkedIn right now isn't representative of you today. It might be representative of you of 5 or 10 years ago. And it's not accurately telling your story and helping you to connect with your ideal target audience. And maybe there's things that you have never filled in. You've never put a banner up on your profile or you've never written an about statement. It's just a huge opportunity and something that you can easily correct.
So true. Every time I see someone like a connection request, and I think, You haven't even bothered to put your photo up. Are you
Yeah.
even active? Like, why would you even be here if you're not going to be here? Just to say you've came and touched LinkedIn and leave? The other thing I think we all see is people using LinkedIn as their digital resume, which is a super snore.
Well, and it's okay if you're a job seeker in career transition to use your LinkedIn profile and activities to support your job search. But the reality is that more people are using LinkedIn for professional networking purposes than are using it for job search. And many people use LinkedIn almost like a professional directory. They look you up and they see where you are and they see what you're doing, and they're using it for the job search. So I don't have a problem with it if you are in career transition. But I think once you're done with that job change, you need to make sure that your profile is accurately reflecting you in your new role and how you plan to use LinkedIn in the future. So it's probably, Allison, a lot of it is more of an unconscious or an unintentional side effect of not spending time on LinkedIn or not doing the updates when there are updates that need to be made.
Yeah, when people are using LinkedIn or they've created the profile and then they go back to leading the emergency department at the hospital or teaching 3 classes a semester at the university, their profile will read professor, tenured track, or something, whatever the role is.
Factually, right?
If, yeah, it's super
Yeah.
factual and honestly like a little diminishing. Like
Yeah.
I know professionally you don't want your peers to say, "Ugh, I can't believe they said professor when they're actually
They're
an
not
assistant
tenured. They're an
professor
assistant.
or they're adjunct." We don't care.
Yeah.
We just want to know, or worse, it'll say teacher. If you're teaching at a university, we understand you're an educator, but please put professor because it's
Mhm.
just odd. Like your humility is getting in my way of understanding what the heck you do. So I see that, and then I see massive, like super accomplished people, and their profile still says professor when it
Mhm.
could say nationally renowned speaker or something that's more of a like an elevated statement because we want to understand what the value is that they present to the world, not
Yeah, can
just,
I offer a technique that might
oh my
help
God,
your listeners?
please.
And that is, I want you to think about, your ideal target audience. Who do you want reading your LinkedIn profile and visiting and learning more about you? Because I think a lot of people, what they get caught up in is almost treating LinkedIn like when you're applying to a job and you fill in this field and that field and you're going to be factual with all the information, which I see them doing, instead of thinking, well, who's my ideal target audience? And let's take someone who's a speaker, for example, who wants to get more speaking opportunities. So positioning themselves as a speaker throughout their profile, merchandising some of their speaker marketing materials, whether it's their speaker sizzle reel or maybe a book that they've published, maybe doing a bulleted list of their top 3 signature talks that they've done. Once you start almost like serving it up on a silver platter for your ideal target audience, your profile starts to become more interesting. And if you're struggling with, I don't want to put this on because it makes it sound like I'm patting myself on the back too much. I want you to think about you should be merchandising yourself and putting yourself in the best light possible for your ideal target audience. If the information is going to be beneficial, it's going to help them, there's nothing wrong with updating that. And I think sometimes that helps people to get over themselves and put their pride aside and make it more of like they're serving up information that their audience might be looking for.
And sometimes the audience is the person booking the speaker at
Yeah.
the conference
Mm-hmm.
or the journalist looking for a source for a contribution in their article.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you think everybody knows that I'm the leader in this field. No, they don't. Only the
Yeah.
people who really work with you know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, people
Everyone
looking at your
else.
profile may have been referred to you, so now they're looking for validation of what they heard. Other people, like this one is an expert in their field. Now they're looking for proof points. They're looking posting or he posting and talking about this. Are they writing articles? Can I see examples of videos of them speaking about the topic? I think help validate that referral that they've gotten for that person.
Perfect. So, when we talk about this view of what you're putting out there about yourself, the marketing jargonese is building your personal brand. And a lot of people that marketing language is cringy because they don't want to be a brand. And
Aw. Yeah.
we're not saying that you yourself are selling yourself. We're just saying, please serve it up so we can understand
Hmm.
better.
Yeah.
So, what's a big change you've seen recently in how people are using LinkedIn to build their personal brand?
I don't know if it's a change that thing recent, anything that's really changing. I've noticed some different ways that people are using their LinkedIn over time that's helping to make it more clear to profile visitors exactly who they are and what they do. And I'll use, for example, your headline field, Allison. If you never change it on LinkedIn, your headline will pull from your current or most recent job title at company, and that's all it will list. So it would say marketing consultant at Meller Marketing, just for example. But you can modify that, and as we're talking about building our personal brand, it's just really how you introduce yourself and what you want to be known for. So instead of saying marketing consultant at Meller Marketing, you might say helping the self employed and executives to get a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie. Being a bit more expressive in what it is that I do, the problem that I solve, and the audience that I work with. So I think this is a technique that I'm starting to see. I got people trying different things within their headline and not just using the default. But for a lot of people, it's, not having the awareness that we can even modify that headline, that we can do something that is helping to tell our story a little bit more. And I hear what you're saying, personal branding might sound a little cringy, might
Yeah.
sound like marketing doublespeak, but I want you to think about, it's really what we're trying to do is to get that ideal target audience to take note of you, because there's 1 billion LinkedIn users. You're competing with a lot of people on there. So when you're posting in the homepage feed, if you use something in your headline, especially in the first 40 to 70 characters, that's going to capture their attention, that's all it takes, Allison, to get them to click and come back to your profile to learn more about you.
You probably didn't do this, but it's okay to pull my profile apart and tell me where I'm making mistakes because I want to use my example. In the past, when I had a corporate job, when I was leading PR for Burt's
Mhm.
Bees or the Unilever, the title would say, it might have said my role, like director of
Yep.
PR.
Mhm. And
And
that's fine in your
then
experience section.
that's
Yep.
fine. And then the switch was to PR leader. And that might have been more generic.
Sure.
But now, after I quit my big time corporate job that came with healthcare and I started helping women get book deals and launch their books,
Hmm.
now I think it says, I help women get book deals and launch their books successfully. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's best-selling book coach, helping women experts become authors. And then you get into many women have expertise that deserves a wider audience, but getting published feels overwhelming. I simplify the journey, host of Author's Edge.
oh, is that what I said? Okay,
That's
great.
that's your thing.
Listen, most of the time I find somebody else's profile that I like and I go, I like that structure. I'm going to
Yeah.
follow that
Get
structure.
some
Remove
inspiration.
there.
Nothing
So
wrong with that.
that's what they say in marketing, steal with pride and then make it your own. I feel like that maybe that's even too long, but true. What I could have said is just book coach, but it still doesn't,
Yeah.
it makes someone do gymnastic, like mental gymnastics, to understand what do they do for me.
Yeah.
No, nobody cares
Yeah.
whether I call myself a book coach or a publishing expert or whatever. It doesn't mean anything to the other person. So do I get an A or
Yeah,
a
you
B
you definitely
minus?
have a solid headline. I don't mind that it's longer. I always tell people, Allison, I'm an opportunistic marketer. So if LinkedIn tells me you get a box, I want to figure out the best way of using all the character limits and field displays on your profile and everything to give you the best chances for success. So in what you are doing with your profile, the very first line of your headline, which reads best-selling book coach, helping women experts become authors, that's the line that's going to appear most frequently when you're posting, when you're commenting, replying, or if you're coming up in search results. Most of it. It might cut off after helping women or even helping in some instances, like on the mobile app. So, what I look for is the first line written in a way that's appealing to your ideal target audience. You get an A on that first line. Other stuff that you have in here is helping to describe and to keep the right person reading longer in there. I personally like doing headline case in your headline, which means we capitalize every important word in there. So in the rest of your statement where you have many women have experts that deserves a wider audience, the only word that's capitalized there is many. I would capitalize the W in women, the E in expertise, the D in deserves, the W in wider, the A in audience. Think about a
Oh,
magazine or a newspaper article headline. all of the important words except a and their types of words would be lowercase. So if we put a case in there, it just helps it to pop a little bit more, in
Yeah.
my opinion, and keep people reading through that headline. But other than that, you've got great keywords in there. It's written to appeal to your ideal target audience, and also it's going to repel the wrong people away, which I think is really brilliant.
Hear that, folks? Go and check out my LinkedIn profile at Allison Lane Lit. That's my tag. So thank you that I got an A. That's what I was looking
You
for.
got an A.
Oh yeah, good.
And you've even
Okay.
got a book emoji, which is a green little book emoji, and then you've got at the end host of Author's Edge. You have the headphones. So I assume Author's Edge is the name of your podcast by reading that, which it is. So I think you did a really nice job of using emojis but sparingly. Sometimes I see people using too many and it starts to look kind of spammy on there, but I think you've done so really nicely.
Oh, thank you. I follow your advice. So we're connected in another group. So I do what you say. So when people believe a lot of myths when it
Mhm.
comes to establishing themselves as like a leading voice or an expert or a thought leader. Some people cringe or they
Mhm.
think, I'm not an expert. I wouldn't call myself an expert. And then we want to wring them their necks because they're like, you don't have to call yourself an expert. If people are
Yeah.
looking to you for guidance, then you are.
Mhm.
And just, you don't have to wear a sash that says expert. But I think people are getting in their own way, probably, when it comes to believing myths about LinkedIn thought leadership. And can you speak to maybe a belief or a misperception that people have about how to establish themselves in that way?
Yeah, I'm going to quote a line from a TV show Mad Men. So I remember in the show, Don Draper was talking to Peggy, and Peggy was saying, something along the lines of, I have the reputation that she wants. And her boss, Don, was like, Peggy, if you don't like the story that people are telling about it, you got to tell your own story. And I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember the exact line, but I think that's what we need to do through our profiles. If you want to be known as a LinkedIn expert or as a best selling book coach, you need to incorporate that into your profile. And maybe you feel like it's cringy to say, I'm a LinkedIn expert or I am an expert book coach. Then use different words, specializing in book coaching for women. So you can use different terminology that essentially says the same thing. And I've even heard some people say that, well, I want to call myself an expert. Someone else can call me an expert. So you could say, known as a LinkedIn expert by tag organizations that have given you some of those credentials or that shouted you out and part of what you do. But I think you do need to be comfortable and confident with what you put in your LinkedIn profile. But sometimes talking to the experts and experts that are out there, you're going to find that we're all going to say the same thing. We need to make sure that when we visit your profile, it's crystal clear who it is that you are trying to attract and appeal through your profile and what it is that you want to be known for. So you can't beat around the bush with that. You got to get to the point quickly and capture our attention. That's going to keep us on your profile longer.
Yeah. One of the alternatives to expert is
Mhm.
leading voice, or sometimes I'll suggest, advocate for,
Sure. Hmm.
instead of if you're not a medical practitioner, but maybe your memoir is
Hmm.
about navigating the, healthcare infrastructure.
Hmm. Sure.
You don't necessarily need to put author because that doesn't tell anyone what they get out of what you do or what you share. But healthcare advocate certainly does, or media contributor even would help,
Yeah. I've,
just
I've
so
even
we
seen, like,
know.
sometimes I used to call myself a self-proclaimed LinkedIn ambassador, which means, proclaims means I'm calling myself that. LinkedIn is not calling myself that. Using the phrase ambassador, these feelings of somebody who's there to guide you around and to act as your advocate and help you on behalf of whatever place or you're visiting or topic that you're learning more about. So there's certainly
Yeah.
different ways you can embrace that terminology in words that you're comfortable with. Yeah.
Yeah. What I love about your advice is that whatever you do within that profile and the decisions you make, you can copy and paste and use that on your website. Because it
Hmm.
really, in the LinkedIn form, I'm gesturing now of the form, there are character maxes.
Hmm.
And it really requires that you make decisions, and your sort of B level language
Hmm.
doesn't fit. And so once it doesn't fit, put it in a parking lot document, because you're not going to end up using it.
Yeah.
You won't need to say, I'm an expert, a leading voice. Choose one and stick with it, and the other one can go. All the rest of the words that didn't end up in the final version, put in a document, and then put the document in a drawer.
Sure. And there should be continuity. I come from a corporate marketing background, and I'm always guiding people not just on LinkedIn, but from a marketing perspective. We want to know who our ideal target audience is, what our company goals and objectives are, but we also want to think about key messages. And we should have some brand continuity and messaging continuity from our LinkedIn profile to our website and even to some of our other social media properties. So, for example, today, Allison, I was on Instagram this morning. I briefly went on TikTok, and then I go on LinkedIn, and I'm looking at, how does my bio read across all three platforms, so that if, depending on where my audience finds me first, they're seeing some continuity in that language. And it's sense. It's not that they find me in one place and they go to another and like, oh wait, she doesn't do marketing, she's doing this. Like, we want to make that there's some continuity so they feel like it's all part of one cohesive story for you.
Yeah, and I bet your picture looks pretty similar too. That drives me nuts when I'm
Mhm.
looking for someone, and not only is their picture different, their bio is different, and their profile and title is different. Allison Lane versus Allison Lane Lit. Like, now I have to remember that too.
Mhm.
Please make it easy. We want the garanimals of digital marketing,
Yeah.
and choose one photo, and if you can
But a
get it,
current photo too,
one.
if I might add,
Oh
Allison,
my gosh,
because what I
yes.
see sometimes people doing is they pick a photo that they love of themselves at someone's wedding 10 years ago, and it's always awkwardly cropped. You can see like somebody's shoulder is kind of cropped
Yeah.
out of it. Or age, I'm gonna get my little sparkles, I like to call them, of gray here and there, and we light and we do our hair and things like that. But I want to make sure if I show up at an event, or if someone is meeting me virtually the first time through LinkedIn and then I get in them a podcast interview like we're doing today, I don't want you to go, Brenda, is that you? Like, I want you to like
Yeah.
see me and you're like, yeah, that's the right person. So I think having, when you said my headshot photo, yeah, it's consistent. I get a new headshot photo every 2 years. And I use that photo in all of my social media properties. So there's consistency all the way down to, we are on Innovation Women. We do our Speaker Friend Friday Zoom calls, full group. And I even use that same photo in my Zoom. It's amazing. It's like everywhere. So, and I think especially for authors, you pick a photo that goes maybe on your book jacket, and then maybe it's been 5 or 10 years since your book has been published. You probably have a new updated photo that you're using elsewhere. You don't have to have continuity with something historical. You can have continuity with a current photo, I think is the point.
Yeah, that's a load off. I think people are thinking, like, oh my gosh, what if I don't look like that anymore? Nobody looks like they did five
Yeah.
or 10 years ago. The world turns for all of us.
Age is a gift, right?
Yes, yes, it is. So, can you tell us a popular tactic or activity on LinkedIn that's
Mhm.
no longer working? Maybe that people need to let go of?
So something that they're trying to do that's no longer working. I'm going to give you an example of maybe something slightly different, Allison, and that is with the increase of people that are on LinkedIn, you probably also are seeing an increase in direct messages that are sent to you.
Oh my
And
God.
some are relevant, maybe just needing some small talk follow up. Others are just kind of semi irrelevant. And then there's others that might be like, someone might reach out to you, Allison, and say, oh, I'm thinking of writing my first book next year. I'll definitely be in touch with you. So you want to like remember that person and make sure that you're following up with them later. But you're in the midst of juggling a bunch of things. You popped in a message to look for something else and you saw that. So you don't want to lose track of it. So I'm going to highlight something that is a feature that you might not even be aware of, which is if you go into your messaging section and in your middle pane, if you're communicating back and forth and there's a woman who says, I want to publish probably next year, you can star that message. So if you click on the little star feature, it's almost like favoriting it
Oh,
in your email. And then in your messaging navigation at the top, you're going to see along the top, focus, jobs, unread, my connections, in mail, and starred. And if you click on starred, it now goes into that category. So you can do some follow up.
I did not know that. I
Yeah.
love learning new things.
Yeah.
Can you also please pass on that the people who connect and immediately try and sell me something,
Pitch slap. That's what it's called.
I I do not love it.
Yeah. I'm
And I
actually
get
doing
two or
a
three a day.
I'm doing a webinar coming up, inspired in part by that, which, calling it Stop Chasing Clients on LinkedIn, Start Attracting Them. Because I think what's happening is a lot of people are getting so aggressive in some of their approaches. And the pitch slap is one of those very common. They send an invitation to connect, probably without a note. Maybe it's a somewhat generic looking note, and you accept it. And then immediately after you accept, like within 30 seconds, you're getting that, and it's probably automated, that message coming back saying,
Oh,
thanks for
yeah.
accepting. Click here. Let's schedule a Calendly. And I'd love to get on my calendar so I can tell you all about our enterprise solutions and how we can help to save you money. And I can learn more about you and we can provide for, and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I just connected with you here, a little bit on there. So
Yeah.
I think people in general need to realize that LinkedIn is a long game about building relationships in the long run, going in with the assumption that the people that you connect to this week are going to become customers for you next week. I think slowing down that process, earning their trust, building up rapport, to me, that creates that steady stream rather than clients and referrals and VIP partners over time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And you can still be a real person. You can DM
Yeah.
someone who you think, wow, I'd really like to work with them. But if you come in blazing hot, people shrink away.
You scare them away. You do. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like everyone uses the same language to start out. Let me read you one. Not even a dear Allison. Like, would love to know something, Allison. If you could fill in the blank so you can reach expert status, would you let fame get to your head? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Please, I responded, please stop selling in DMs.
I had one recently, and I could tell it was a real person, and we were messaging back and forth. She was commenting on a post. We were kind of joking around about, thing that we see people doing. And then she went into the, what would it be like if you had more clarity and hours in the day as an entrepreneur? Is that something you're interested in my help with? I was like, we were just chatting, having a nice conversation, and she just went like completely 180 in a different direction. Like we weren't even talking
It's like
about,
she jumped the gun, and also
yeah,
just that like question format
yeah.
screams sales script.
Well, I felt like I was backed in a corner at that point. I don't know about you, Allison, but what I started doing is when they sell to me, I immediately turn it on full Salesforce back to them. And instead of saying, yes, I want to have you time, I said, it sounds like you're using LinkedIn for link generation, Glenda, and I'm making up a name. Offer power hours where I can help you to optimize your time and efforts on LinkedIn. I've put the link below where you can schedule your first 1 hour session with me. And I think another week or two went by and she came back with another sales pitch to me and I turned fire again with that one. But is it the best use of my time? I don't know, but it makes me smile a little bit. And I think just illustrating to them, you just did this to me, will cause them to think a little bit differently about doing that pitch in the future.
Yeah. At least that would have been a good choice for them to actually work with you.
Yeah.
The my favorite is when they somebody waits a week and then
Mm-hmm.
they reach out again and say, "Did you notice my previous message?"
Yeah.
And then I say, "You are killing me softly."
Aw.
And after that, sometimes they stop. But if they come back a third time, I will be like doing a screenshot because it's not nice. It's
Yeah.
not nice, people. Please be better.
It's almost like the people, Allison, that you connect with them on LinkedIn, and then a week or two later, you start noticing you're getting their email newsletter and you never subscribe to it, which is kind of, and it's a little bit off putting.
Yes.
I think they're taking liberties. It's a little bit of a gray area. Now, all the email service providers out there nowadays are saying we need express opt in permission. That means I am intentionally subscribing to your newsletter. Connecting with someone on LinkedIn doesn't give you that. So what I started doing when I get those messages is I look them up on LinkedIn. I look at, oh, yep, we just connected about 2 weeks ago. And the only interaction I've had with them was through that. Now they're adding me. And so now what I do is I reply back and I'll say, thanks, Theo, for adding me, or Theo, for your message. It looks like I've been added to your email newsletter regarding leadership strategies. I've just added you to my newsletter as well, where you're going to start to receive LinkedIn and marketing tips from me. Have a great day.
That is very passive aggressive. I like it. I didn't realize that is why I've been getting signed up for so many
Yeah.
emails because I email people back and go, please take me off. I did not
Yeah,
sign
I
up for
just
this.
wrote your own list, Allison, and I think what's going to happen is they're going to feel guilty unsubscribing from your list. Maybe in the
Uh,
process, they educate and they learn more about what you do as a book coach, and maybe they start sending some business your way. I'm going to go in the best possible scenario of this.
you're very generous. That's very kind. Let's pivot for a second because I did ask you for a book recommendation, which I
Mhm.
love. I love the book that you mentioned, but do you remember what it was?
Was it Mike Michalowicz, Profit First?
No, although I have it behind me.
What
It
way?
was Mel Abrams or Abraham.
Oh, was it what book I'm reading right now? Maybe
Yes.
what, yeah.
Just tell me what's a book that you think that everybody should read?
Everyone should read if you're self-employed is Mike Michalowicz, Profit First. You know,
Hold on, let me hold it up because I have it.
no questions asked. Especially if, I am a marketer, I am not an accountant, I am not a finance person. Premise of this is like an envelope system. So money comes into one account called your profit account, and then you distribute twice a month or weekly into your owner's compensation, operating expenses, your tax hold, and your profit hold. And forces you to be more intentional about how you spend your money, which we're going through different economic cycles, and things have been very interesting over the past 5 years. And I think they're going to continue to be interesting in the future. And what I see a lot of people that are self employed doing is they don't make it through those first 5 years because they don't know how to manage the cash flow and the money that's coming into your business. If you
Yeah.
follow the profit first system taught in that book, it helps you to be more aware of when you need to cut your expenses so that your expenses are in line with your revenue. And also when you have some additional funds to invest in an outside expert, or finally get that signed up to work with Allison on getting your book published and getting that work done. But it teaches you that system of going through it. It's something I learned when I first started my business full time in 2018, and it's a model that I still follow to this day.
Yes, I love that we both follow it. It is pretty eye opening too of oh, a dollar comes in and this percentage, it really takes out like all the subjectivity
Yep.
out. I like to be told what to do. Just
Mm-hmm.
tell me what it is and I will do it. I just need the formula. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So what is the other book that you said that you can't wait to read?
I don't remember what I told you in the forum.
Mel that
Oh,
you're
Mel
currently
Abrams.
reading.
I'm reading the book right now, so I'm more than halfway through the book. So he's basically talking about managing your money, personal finances, and growing your wealth over time, and different strategies for getting that process into place. And I find that if you want certain things in life, I think surround yourself with other experts who are doing those things already. But also, let's learn from the people who've been there, done that, and who have strategies to help us to get to where we want to go. So, as my business continues to grow and evolve, I make sure that I'm building it in a way, helping to support my financial goals, my personal goals as well. And I really like his style. He's very conversational in his book, and great strategies that I've been picking up along the way as well.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. Now, before we call this podcast complete, what's one thing you want people to take with them? What's one thing that they could do to make their LinkedIn profiles and their presence improved?
Oh, great question. So I think one thing that you can do today if you want to improve your LinkedIn presence is go onto your profile and imagine that you are your ideal target audience looking at your profile, and give it a once over from top to bottom. Expand all the fields, read the information you have in there, make sure that things are accurate. And it might take a little bit more time than just one visit and 10 minutes to make the changes that you need to update it, but at least having some awareness of what's in your profile. A simple strategy that you can do is omit anything that's no longer relevant or dated, and make some notes on things that you'd like to work on and get updated later. But at least having an awareness of what's in your profile, because like it or not, if you're active on LinkedIn or if you're not active on LinkedIn, people are visiting your profile anyway. Many people are using it as an online business directory and a professional directory. So they're reading your story. And I think you should be aware of what the story is that you have out there.
You can't change unless you're aware first. I
Mhm.
love it. Oh, thank you so much, Brenda, for everything, for giving us so much to think about and do and ways to improve. We appreciate you. And hey, listener, I know that you're sitting in the Target parking lot and you're thinking, I'm taking notes and I'm going to do this later. All you have to do is download the episode and you can go back to it later when you have a moment and you're not waiting for your daughter to come out with the latest pink drink craze. And I'm just speaking for myself. This is my life.
That's Starbucks, isn't it? Or
Yes, there's a
yeah.
Starbucks in the Target.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. All right.
Yep, and that is her Starbucks of choice, her preferred
It's easy in
location.
and out. Sometimes it's easier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So take the action and give yourself a little leeway. It's not now or never. Just bookmark it and you can take the action later. And also, this is an action packed episode. Share it with someone who you know is trying to do the same thing. And we wouldn't hate you if you left a 5-star review because it helps the algorithm and you know all of that internet magic works. So, do all the things. We appreciate you, and especially for showing up for yourself. We will see you next week.